Yeah, Broncos and Chargers. Chargers, you know, kind of ending their season the way that the entire season has gone. But the Broncos
I
did
mean,
solidify their number one seed for the win.
this game was actually closer than I thought
It
it was going to be.
was. It was very much closer. And, the obvious thing is Peyton Manning came out.
Yeah, he came out and I mean he didn't actually score a touchdown, but I just think his presence on the field and I'm sure he was calling a lot of the plays probably made the
I'm
difference.
glad you said that. Uh, that's kind of the one thing that's been bothering. And I hate being like, I guess, negative about it because I really do like Peyton Manning, and I was excited to see him come out. I'm like, oh shit, they're actually pulling him out and everything because, I didn't feel like a whole lot was like on the line if they lost this game, but I guess they just really wanted the number one seed. So I was
Right.
like, okay. And all I hear about the next day is that like, well, they won because Peyton Manning came out there and like he had 65-yard passing yards and no touchdowns. Like
Right.
honestly, Ronnie Hillman and C.J. Anderson won that game in the second half.
This is what and I think it's fair to point out the stats, but the play calling and just I feel like him coming out probably psyched the Chargers out a little bit. They're like, really, like
Yeah, I think that's
um,
true.
let's just say the way Peyton Manning has been playing this year, he's been basically reduced to a game manager.
Yeah,
And if that is the case, if that's what he is at the stage of his career, he's the best game manager in the fucking game. Like seriously, as far as calling plays, knowing what to do, breaking down defenses, he might not have the ability to all carry the team by himself anymore.
yeah,
But I mean, he's been there, he's done it, he's seen it all. I
yeah.
mean, if anyone can see if call out a read on the defense and then reset, call an audible and get the offense ready for the play, he can do it. Obviously, they won. So,
Yeah,
is that going to
that's
be enough for the playoffs? Is the big question. What are they going to do?
right.
Because it's one thing to do it to the Chargers. It's another thing to do it to whoever the hell is coming to Mile High Stadium. So,
It's a good point. I didn't think about that, and it is true. I kind of had the mentality that uh, offensively, that all their scoring drives came from running backs anyway. In the
right.
second half. So I was kind of like, well, they probably still would have won with Osweiler anyway, but maybe they wouldn't have. Maybe because honestly, Philip Rivers was giving it all he's got. He obviously wanted to pull like. I honestly kind of feel like Philip Rivers wanted to have like one last hurrah just in case San Diego is no longer the San Diego Chargers next year. And I almost wanted to be
Sure.
like, in his final moment, like the last game of the season, he wanted to be like, well, at least we beat the Broncos. Like, I beat Peyton Manning as San Diego Charger type of thing. I like, kind of feel that's, like his big thing, but he also kind of ended up losing the game for the Chargers, though. He threw that pick at the end of the game, and
Right.
you know,
Right.
but that's kind of almost nothing new for Philip Rivers anyway. Uh,
And I mean, against that defense and with the way the offense is played, I mean, Philip Rivers had to carry the offense. Like the fact he's the number three receiver on the year. I mean, quarterback on the year as far as yards go.
number two,
Number
yeah,
two. That tells you how much he had to carry that team. I
yeah,
mean, how many years has it been since he was number one or number two? He's never had to carry the team as much as he did this year.
yeah,
And I mean, he just one man, even a quarterback, can only do so
yeah,
much.
exactly.
So the question though is, Denver is in the exact opposite straits because the defense won them that game too. And do you think you start Peyton or do you start Brock?
I think by them bringing out Peyton during this game already answered that question. They're going to use Peyton.
I I, I think so. You're going into the playoffs. You got this guy that's been there before. Uh, I like Brock Osweiler, and I think he's the future for the
Oh,
Broncos.
definitely he is. I mean that there's no
But
question that he's not.
Peyton seems to be the president. So So
Yeah, and when the playoffs are all said and done, during the off season, how Peyton feels if he's coming back next year, if he's not. Even if he does come back next year, I think he has his job locked up. But I think once uh, once Denver, if they start going below 500 next year, Brock Osweiler is going to be
you
put
know
in.
what? If we talked a week ago, we talked about this, and I'm gonna say that if Peyton Manning comes back next season, he's not wearing a Denver Broncos uniform. After today or Sunday, I should say, who knows? I think it's going to be dependent on the playoffs. If Peyton Manning goes in, plays bad, blows the game, and then they bench him and put Osweiler in, they lose in the first game. Peyton might be gone,
Yeah,
honestly. If they go all the way and win the Super Bowl, then that's a whole different story, obviously.
yeah.
So I think where Peyton Manning is kind of depends on how the playoffs go. Because I could definitely see him still playing and not playing for the Broncos.
That'd be weird. It'd be interesting. I don't know what
It
his
would. I mean,
contract
I
looks like
guess,
though.
but I mean, I think he's might be up after this year. I'm not a fundo on that.
I don't know.
But I mean, he left Indy. I mean, not didn't want to, but I mean, cutting ties with Indy, I can't see cutting ties with Denver being as hard as it was to cut ties with Indy.
I suppose.
So if he did leave, it wouldn't be a shocker. I don't feel like it would be like, oh my God, Peyton Manning playing for another team. It wouldn't feel the same as when he left Indianapolis,
Well, then that's just another thing that he'll match with Brett Favre. Then play for a better
right?
team.
Maybe the Texans in the division.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, even better. And then make the AFC Championship game that year.
Oh man, it'll be interesting to watch in the off season, but even more interesting than that is going to be the postseason right now, and I'm looking forward to it.
Oh yeah, definitely me too. And you know, speaking of the postseason, since it is wild card weekend, we're gonna have our playoff predictions comparing to our original playoff predictions back in week one, and then make our own playoff predictions coming up for the weekend in our late call this week. So definitely something to check out later this week when uh, we start releasing these videos. Yeah.